Hello and welcome to the Chattanooga FC pregame show presented live by Workshop. I'm your host, Kyle Martino. Just kidding. This is James Dawson. We're hanging out at Finley Stadium, gearing up to take on the Soda City FC tonight at 8 o'clock. This is the Southeast Regional Finals for the NISA Independent Cup. Tonight's match determines who will take home the title of Southeast Region Champion. Chattanooga is currently sitting on top of the table with 6 out of 6 points. And right below them, our opponent tonight is Soda City. They are trailing close behind. They have 4 points. So everything's on the line. Make sure you tune in to watch the game. We're going to have it live streamed on MyCuju and YouTube. So thanks for tuning in. Our show tonight is jam-packed. We have some awesome guests that are going to be joining us. We're going to talk about the development of the 2020 jersey with Widgets and Stone. That'll be Paul Rustand and Travis Hitchcock. We also have a special guest, Soren Uhazchek. We're going to talk with him about his path to playing professional soccer and reasons to join the Chattanooga FC. Looking forward to that. And I'm really excited. No giveaways for the giveaway, but tonight we are going to have a sweepstakes for a huge prize giveaway. So stick with us till the end. I'm going to have some stuff that I'll show you. You're definitely going to be interested in this. So before we start, Chattanooga FC wants to give a huge shout out to El Mason for keeping our boys fed. They've got our post-match meal tonight. So they're great people, wonderful food. You can check them out at elmasonchattanooga.com. Thank you so much for your support, guys. So first, let's do a recap. Let's talk just a little bit about our last match for the CFC. This would have been versus the Savannah Clovers FC right here at Fort Finley on July 18th. We came out of the gate fast. Ryan Marcano on the right wing, he took one touch around the defender and lashed it across the box. He found Brian Bement, who is always where he needs to be. He has the killer instinct, which is why he is scoring every game. And he put us up. It wasn't long after that, who had come in as a center midfield stalwart. He played a little 1-2 with Brian Bement and put his laces through the ball, bottom left corner, 20-yard strike, put us up 2-0. It wasn't until later in the second half that Caleb Jackson, the one-man counterattack Jackson, absolutely opened up the defense and put us up 3-0, which gave us the decisive victory and put us at the top of the table. So all in all, it was a very strong performance from our entire team. And, man, wish you guys could have been here for that one. So anyways, tonight, keep an eye on certain players. I want to be watching for Brian Bement. I feel like this guy's going to get a brace, and also Zeka. Not to give away anything from the lineup that we haven't talked about yet, but that's coming up as well. So as I mentioned previously, tonight it's going to determine who wins the Southern Region Champion of the NISA Independent Cup, if Chattanooga wins or draws. So with us sitting at 6 points, we can take it with 7. We are going up against Soda City FC, who are at 4 points. They need a victory. So they're going to be, I'm sure, coming out of the gate, pressing. Overall, so far, Soda City FC, they've put on a strong showing in the Independent Cup. They came out of the gate with a 2-1 victory over Savannah Clovers, FC, and then they put in a 2-2 draw. It was a very close game against the Georgia Revolution. So everything on the line tonight. There's no fans. We need you at home cheering with us, tweeting along with us, Instagramming along with us. Would love to see pictures from you guys of your setups, watching the game at home. Really lift up our guys. So jumping right into it, I want to talk about the Trey Nelms State Farm lineup. All right, so tonight, get my ducks in a row here. Tonight, in goal, we're going to have none other than Alec Reddington. Now, if you remember Alec's first performance when he came out, he was an absolute rock star, making some very clutch saves against the Georgia Revolution. We're going to have a back three anchored by Eric Panzer, Nick Spielman, and Alec McKinley. We're going to be playing wingbacks tonight with Cam Woodfin out on the left side, and we're going to see Richard Dixon out on the right side. Juan Hernandez, Kyle Carr, and Ian McGrath are the center, with Juan wearing the captain's band this evening. And up top, we're going to have two strikers, Zeka and Brian Bement. I'm not going to put money on it, but I have a feeling we're going to score just a couple goals, to say the least. This is a lineup that's going to come out of the gate and be able to pin our opponents back. There is so much speed and precision. And from what we've seen, really, really good chemistry. I would look for Juan Hernandez, Ian McGrath, Zeka, and Brian Bement up top to be able to pull those wingbacks up. Look for them to advance the ball quickly on the counterattack, and look for some runs from Dixon and Woodfin to cross the ball into the box to our very talented strikers. Yes, it's going to be a good game tonight. I'm joined by some very special guests now. Some very special guests, friends of mine. They should be friends of yours. If you don't already know them, you don't live in Chattanooga. It's Paul Rustand. He's the co-founder and board member of the Chattanooga FC. He's also the director of the illustrious local design agency, Widgets and Stone. He's joined with Travis Hitchcock, an incredibly talented designer. He's been a mainstay at Widgets and Stone for a ton of years, and he's worked on several of Chattanooga FC's kits. Guys, I'm thrilled to have you on the show tonight. Before we dive into any Q&A, I do Twitter for the CFC. You guys know this. People are buzzing about this year's kits. I mean, they're blown away. And not just our fans, but just people in general are seeing these things.
Awesome.
And they are incredible. So, Paul, I'd love to start off. Could you give us just a quick overview on this process you go into to create a kit for a soccer team?
Yeah, yes. It's not exactly the most thrilling thing in the world, but it's a lot like a recipe, you know. So if you want to make a particular thing, you kind of look at all these different recipes and you see kind of the common ingredients and the common approaches to preparing it. And then you kind of also look at what you can kind of add to it, what's kind of interesting additions and all of that. So we are always looking at other uniforms and what other people are doing and drawing a lot of inspiration from that. But we also have to pay a lot of attention to our history, kind of what we've done in the past. And believe it or not, there's sometimes we design something in the past that just didn't get chosen for that particular season. You might throw that back into the mix depending on sort of the parameters. So at this point in time, we have a great team. Travis is not the only one that's participating. There's a couple other really strong contributors with Matt Greenwell, Brad DeSherry, and Mark Slauson, who also throw stuff in. And usually what I'll do is I'll throw out a few parameters for the season, and they kind of take it and run with it.
Well, Travis, I see some very familiar colors on your collar there. That's one of my favorite jersey years personally. Can you tell us a little bit about, in general, what's your process, and I guess what were you a part of then in designing the kit?
Yeah, so to reiterate sort of what Paul said there, he usually comes to the team and he has a particular concept or direction that he brings back from the club. And so we get that information and all of us sort of go on our own and we design our own concepts. And then we sort of regroup after maybe a week or so, maybe longer, depending just on the timetable that we have. And then we'll critique those concepts. We sometimes merge concepts, refine or change concepts based on those conversations that we have internally. And then we'll narrow down to a few options that we present to the club. And then after we present those options, there's a whole nother sort of more small detail type revision process that we go through. And then once it gets to the production stage after that, then there's just required much less fun revisions that we have to go through at that stage. So over the past few years, I think this jersey that you mentioned was the first jersey that I actually designed. I just happened to be the one who has to go throughout the whole process to make those revisions that I just described. So yeah, this year was no different than that. We just settled on that sort of chevron option and produced it from there.
Yes, the incremental improvements from feedback. It takes humility to run with that and a creative mind. So a lot of your work falls outside, right, of the world of sports. Like I personally have had the honor to work with you guys on brand development and logo imaging. So what do you think's different potentially about the way you approach designing a kit?
Travis, you go first.
Okay. I think there's probably a couple benefits that come from that. One of them, I think, that probably helps is because we're not sort of always in that world of sports design or soccer design or jersey design. There's probably certain tropes that I'm maybe not aware of because I am just a standard branding designer that we don't fall into as easily, I'm sure. I think more importantly, because CFC is sort of the one team that we get to focus on, we get to spend all of our creativity and all our energy in developing just their jerseys. Where if we did have, say, 5 or 6 teams that we were developing, we'd have to go through all the same types of challenges that we're going through now, but sort of use that energy and directions on those teams. So I think it probably helps that we can really invest in the tradition of CFC and fully immerse ourselves there.
I totally agree with that. I think that I'm a little bit more in the soccer world, and so me not having a direct hand in the design makes a big help. I can kind of provide the guidance of like, whoa, that's way out there, that'll work, or whoa, that's way out there, that won't work. But for the most part, the guys are able to kind of use a lot of the typical strategies that they use in any design, and it provides a little bit of a fresh take on the jersey design.
So for this season, for 2020, which, you know, having a number of these jerseys myself, I see it as being different. And I don't think that's just because the manufacturer is different. There's just thematically some different elements. So for this season, was there an impetus for this jersey, or was there something for the particular 2020 kit to make it different? Is it we're pros now? Let's bring our pro game, or what do you guys think, Paul?
Well, in general, we're always trying to do better and make it a little bit more exciting or more than whatever it was the past year.
Sure.
And there's always sort of a focus, and we try to cover a spectrum in kind of how we design. I was pushing for super minimal this year, and I lost out on the board.
Yeah, for sure.
But Travis can speak a little bit more particularly because this was his particular design, and I think it had some to do with Hummel and their sort of brand approach, but also tying into a little bit of our history. But I don't want to speak for what your inspirations were.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. There was a certain element of being a professional team that went into this year's design. I sort of wanted it to feel professional, for lack of a better word. And I wanted it to sort of be a nice blend of something that felt traditional and something that felt unique. So that sort of somewhat subtle chevron pattern, I felt lended itself to both of those things.
So
Yeah.
you got, go ahead, Paul.
Because with a different maker, there's always sort of different brand elements that they want to work in. And so the Hummel chevrons go in a certain place, or, you know, past vendors, their logos go in a certain place. So it was kind of an interesting challenge to take our design and then all of a sudden have to apply the maker's sort of branding to it. And
Sure.
certain ones worked a little bit better than certain others. If I'm not misspeaking.
No, that makes sense. And you guys have both mentioned some obstacles or some roadblocks. Was there anything this season that you guys had either brought to the table that got axed real quick thematically or in designs? You've mentioned iterations, Travis, so I'll let you start with this one. But were there any big roadblocks working with the manufacturer or the club this year?
At least from my perspective, and I'm not looped into all of the emails and decisions that get made. But it seems like the biggest roadblock from my perspective was production, just with the timing of everything that's going on now.
Sure.
There seemed to be some delays and challenges on trying to figure out just the logistics of like how do we
Supply
produce
chain?
these during supply chain issues and just how to produce during a pandemic.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In the past, it had been, at least with our budget and our sort of abilities, it was very odd to be able to get to do a custom jersey until around 2014. Even then, the production times and getting things made, where they're getting made, how long it takes to ship them, was a big challenge. And last year, that was a big factor. We had to really have stuff done very early to get it in time. And this year, with China being the manufacturing for Hummel, was a big issue when they just locked down for the reaction to COVID. And Hummel did an absolutely amazing job of sort of resourcing American manufacturers. And I think, I mean, when you see the jerseys, there's a lot you could argue, like, oh, I like the look of that one or this one better. But I think when you feel this jersey this year, it is just a next level, sort of the fabrication and the colors and everything was spot on. But it was definitely a huge challenge of, oh, we might even have to just go to stock jerseys and figure out a solution that way. That was a big roadblock.
Going to be screen printing them down the street. So without giving away too much of maybe some of the clubs you guys like in the pro tiers or even in the international tiers, I think of iconic jerseys like Croatia, and we didn't quite go that far with the chevrons this year. But when you guys think of kits you admire, who jumps to mind? And maybe were there any kits professionally that influenced this design?
That's good. Travis, have you prepared for this question, or should I stall?
You go ahead and start.
Travis is not a huge soccer guy. I don't think there's anything in particular that we drew inspiration from, but there often is, about every other year, every third year. I always see Roma's. I pay a lot of attention to the Italian leagues. Sorry, there are great jerseys everywhere at every level.
Sure.
But the Italian ones are the ones I pay attention to. I always see Roma's get announced, and you're like, whatever. And then I'll see a game, and they'll be wearing them. And there's always something in the understatement and just the colors. It's just absolutely amazing. But then this year, Inter Milan has really kind of edgy out there. I didn't like what they were wearing today. It was kind of like a plaid with white, but their typical stripes with black and blue. This year they did zigzags, which is really kind of cool. And Paris Saint-Germain also tends to have some great ones. And then internationally, of course, the Italian national team tends to always do something that's quite interesting. And in particular, the little subtle tone-on-tone stuff that we've done a lot in the past 5 or 6 years was influenced by them. But Travis is a little bit more of a baseball guy.
You said minimalist, and you mentioned Roma and Italy, so I could see that. Yeah, Roma with the classic red and gold. Yep. So, guys, I got one more question for you about these amazing jerseys that people can get their hands on at shop.chattanoogafc.com. We're going to talk more about that later, I promise. But for you guys, if you had to choose, this is a tough question. If you had to choose out of all the kits in CFC history, which is your favorite and why?
That is a tough one. I'll go first, Paul.
Go.
This is cheating because I'm going to choose 2, I think.
Oh.
I can't decide.
You could go with the home and away from the same season.
Okay. It's not technically home and away, but I like the, I think it's 2018 home that has sort of the star ball a pattern across the entire torso.
Yeah.
And then just because it seems like the most special kit to me is a supporter owner's jersey.
Yeah. With all the names.
There it is. Yeah.
Right behind there. Yeah.
I was really proud of that kit sort of suite lineup as a whole, just because it was already a special lineup because of the 10 years. And I thought the X motif was a nice way to symbolize that. But then to put the supporter owner's name concept on top of that, I just thought made it really special.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
What would you say, Paul?
Divorced from a particular season and performance. But if I had to, I think last year's away jersey, it was not quite right color-wise, but it worked. It was just kind of that electric kind of sky blue, and the linear kind of quality and the X on it just was really striking. Kind of it was really well designed, and then it was kind of a happy coincidence with a little bit of things that went wrong with it for me. So it's kind of archetypal to design.
So last
to be.
I'm hearing last season, and I'm hearing the owner's jersey. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for designing these amazing uniforms. If you haven't seen them, again, go to the website, go to shop.chattanoogafc.com. You can get them customized this year. You can actually get your name on the back of your CFC jersey. You could also get one of the legends we have on the team, and that's a little cheaper, but go get one either way. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for the work you put into this.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks.
So next up, we are going to be joined by none other than Soren, fastest guy on the CFC U has check. How you doing, Soren?
What's up, man? I'm good. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great. I'm not doing too great, actually. I wish you were here, but you're not tonight.
I wish I was there too.
Man, I heard you're coming back from an injury. I want to wish you a speedy recovery there. Do you have an update on that?
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, so, I injured last month on the 29th, and it was a 2-month injury, so I'm 1 month in, so I got 1 month to go. And I'm walking, so I wait to back up the field with the boys.
Mentality is good. Well, listen, we get a great chance just to talk about you and talk about your story and what got you here. And I'm just wondering, can you take us back to the little leagues? Take us back to when you started playing. What got you into soccer?
Oh, what got me into soccer? Oh, man. Let's go way, way back. So I was born in the Netherlands, so I don't know. I was playing with some kids in the street, and then I started kicking the ball against the wall, and I just kept going with it. Then I moved to the States and kept playing. My parents put me into a few leagues, kept going, went to school, played college in Darton in Georgia. And then I played 2 years at West Florida with Bill. That's where I met Mr. Bill Elliott.
Oh, Sir Elliott.
Sir Elliott, the legend himself, So, yeah, and then he told me about this place called Chattanooga. And then before you know it, I had no idea about Chattanooga. So I came to see what's up with it. And, man, the rest is history.
So in that transition, when you came from the Netherlands, you came to the States, and you started playing young, was there a time when you kind of realized, hey, I'm a little bit better than these other guys on my team?
No, honestly, I didn't think of it like that. It was just something you do. I mean, a part of me is just second nature. At one point, you do it every day. You can't go without it forever.
Yeah. Talk to me then. You made the decision to come play for CFC because you were playing with Bill, and he said, hey, I want to keep you in shape over the summer, and this place is awesome.
So that was like 2016, the Golden Jerseys. By the way, the last question about the favorite jerseys, Widgets and Stone. I love the Golden Jerseys just because of the memories behind it. Phenomenal season. It was my first season. I had no idea what Chattanooga was or about football in Chattanooga, and I came here, saw the fan base, just blew my mind. It was unreal how much the community cared about the club, and it was really motivating, and it was a great time. I had no idea, and we won every game all the way to semifinals. Unfortunately, I felt like that year we should have took it home.
I remember those gold jerseys. Was that 2016?
Yeah, 2016.
Wow. So walk us through. Tell us what it's like to be a CFC player. What's a day look like?
A day? Oh man, so we wake up quite early. We have practice at 8. Go over there, have to be there early, or there's consequences. And you don't want to fall into those. You don't want to get in the naughty list. So we get to practice on time. You do your normal stuff, stretch, work out, have a good training. We push each other. And everyone has their own routines after. Me personally, after I go get lunch, I go to Norris Springs or sports bar and get a little workout in. And, if we have a second session or a recovery, we'll do that. But yeah, pretty cut and dry every day.
So you find yourself in Chattanooga, just a small town in Tennessee. What's the best and worst part of living in Chattanooga?
The best and worst part?
Best and worst, yeah, high and low, Chattanooga.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm an Orlando native. I'm an Orlando boy at heart, Florida.
Okay.
But Chattanooga has grown on me big time. The people are like no other, It's very tight knit here, Like in Orlando, people, you see someone, it's like whatever here, but here it's like, hey, how are you? Like, how's everything been? It's a big difference, and there's no traffic here.
I don't know, man. People that have to do the ridge cut every day might disagree with you, but you're absolutely right. It's nothing close.
Yeah, but I don't know. I love Chattanooga. It's home. It's homey. It's everyone who comes here loves it. My family has came and visit, and they have nothing but nice things always to say about it.
So I've got a couple more questions for you here, and again, thank you for being with us, man. This has been awesome. As far as
I'm so awkward with these type of things.
No, you're doing amazing. So what's maybe one of the biggest challenges you've had to face in your 4 years at the club?
The biggest challenges,
That could be personal or team. What's a challenge you feel like?
Yeah, there's a lot. Years you've been here for a long time, so mentally to stay motivated and to push up day in and day out, it's tough. It's tougher than it looks. There's a lot of you guys see the Saturday night, but there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, a grind and a lot of sacrifices being made, and it's, you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
So, Soren, when I think of you as a player, very fast, able to get forward when you need to, have you always been a defender?
To be fair, Mexican League, I play up top. But, here we play defense, but I got a little striker side in me maybe one day.
I love it. I love it. So last question for you. Obviously, you follow CFC. You're on the CFC. Who's your favorite big club? Who's your favorite Premier League club? Any big country?
Personally, Bundesliga, but I love Bayern Munich. And I know it's so random. I love Bayern. I've always loved Bayern. Iron Robin played for Netherlands, and he's a old guy. But I've always looked up to that guy. I'm going to name my son after him if I have a son one day.
I saw he just passed his physical. He's back at his boyhood club. He's unstoppable. He's like 38 years old. Well, Soren, I love it. Yes, they're probably gonna, I think, beat Chelsea next week. I don't really think that'll be close in the Champions League. Yeah. I think that's who they drew. But anyways, thanks so much for joining us, man. And we want to wish you just a speedy recovery.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I can't wait to get back on the field and let's see a good result tonight. I can't wait to see the boys play. About to go head over there right now.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I'll see you guys.
All right, take care.
Take care.
All right, guys. So finally, that was a great interview. The moment you've been waiting for, we're going to announce what we're giving away tonight. So we talked about these kits. Believe it or not, we had a theme to the show tonight. It's about giving away some of these new jerseys, right? So you heard all the thought and intention that went into creating them, and hopefully you've seen them online. They're absolutely gorgeous. We're going to be giving away, I have one of them here. I have one of the keeper jerseys, all right? Check this out. This is the checkered pink keeper jersey. Absolutely beautiful. We're also going to have our blue and we're going to have our white jerseys. We're giving away 3 jerseys and they're going to be customized. You can get your name on the back. You can get your friend's name on the back. You can get one of our players' name on the back, whatever you want. Here's how you enter. Go to our Twitter. Follow it. It's Chattanooga FC. So it's at Chattanooga FC. Follow it. Go ahead and fill out the form and retweet it. That's all you have to do. Go to the Twitter, fill out the form to win the jersey, and retweet it. And with that, you'll be entered to win. And listen, if you don't win, it doesn't matter. You can go buy one. We've talked about this. It's shop.chattanoogafc.com. Go get one of these jerseys. They're absolutely beautiful. It's your COVID jersey, right? right? Wear it around town. Let people know you still care. So anyways, guys, this has been a phenomenal show. So great to talk to Paul and Travis and have Soren on here. We're going to go ahead and get ready for the match that's coming right up. I'm going to transition from the headset to Twitter. So, tweet at Chattanooga FC tonight. We'll get some banter going. Again, let us know what your setup looks like. Tag us in it, watching the game at home with the kids, with the fam, flipping burgers. Anyways, I'm going to sign off from here, sign on to Twitter. Thank you guys so much for being with us tonight.